Let me make several points, and I think this goes back to the statement that we have already issued as a group. But in the first place, the bombing puts us in very real, very imminent personal danger every time it takes place. I don't know how to describe the feeling of being bombed. I don't think there are words that can possibly transmit it to the American people to make them understand that feeling. But it is very real and very personal. The bombing, as Lynn commented, has been demonstrated to be ineffective. It is not going to stop the Vietnamese will to fight, nor their will to continue, just as the blockade of any port really is not going to deter the Vietnamese spirit and their purpose in this war, if you will call it a war. The bombings only make it more likely that we're going to have to stay here much, much longer. And if there's anything that all of us want, it's to go home, to be with our families. We want that more than anything in the world. And yet, every airplane that comes through the sky here makes it that much more remote a possibility.
May 24th, 8 a.m. We drove to the village of Bao Nu, 20 kilometers from Nam Dinh. Our cars went past a long section of river dikes, and the Vietnamese told us that by August, when the waters rose to flood levels, these dikes would be bombed. Members of the Bao Nu village committee described an air raid on May 12th when B-52s dropped demolition and anti-personnel bombs. Besides the craters, there were hundreds of tiny holes, pockmarks, and dents everywhere, in walls, cooking utensils, furniture. These dents and pockmarks hardly damage the buildings. They are not meant to. They're made by the pellets from the anti-personnel bombs, used exclusively to kill and maim human beings. The people have erected a monument of outrage to the American pilots.
At 12:30 on May 12, 1972, the American planes came to bomb this place, killing 8 persons, wounding 23 others, and burning 4 homes.
Trần Văn Dũng, 15 years old, on his way to school, was caught by a perforating bomb and killed. Bùi Thị Sài, 22 years old, a teacher, killed when her house was hit by a demolition bomb. Trần Trinh Ba, 25 years, a teacher at the daycare center, hit by perforating bombs, breaking both her hands and causing multiple wounds. She can no longer feed her 10-month-old baby. Trần Văn Thinh, 2 children, 1 killed, 1 wounded. Trần Hữu Tý, 3 children, 1 killed, 1 wounded. Trần Văn Lý, 5 children, 1 killed, 3 wounded.
I'm Bill Zimmerman. I used to be a psychology professor. Now I work full-time for Medical Aid for Indochina. Medical Aid for Indochina raises money to purchase medicines, medical equipment, and supplies, which it sends to North Vietnam and the areas of South Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia being bombed by the United States. We stay in constant communication with representatives of the health services of those countries so that we're made aware of their most immediate needs. None of the 4 of us had ever made films before this trip, but we felt it was important to record what we saw and heard as efficiently as possible. The use of pellet and fragmentation bombs by the United States has brought on a whole new era in modern warfare. In the War Crimes Museum in Hanoi, there are undetonated samples of all these anti-personnel weapons. There is the famous pellet bomb. 640 bomblets are packed into a single canister, which scatters them over a wide area as it falls. Each bomblet contains 300 small steel pellets. The bomblets strike the ground and spin along until they drop into a shelter hole or come to rest up against a building. The end of the spin triggers an explosion which sends the pellets out like tiny bullets in all directions. Sometimes hundreds of pellets wind up in a single body. The orange bomb is similar, only when it strikes the ground, it bounces back up to eye level so that the injuries sustained are around the more sensitive areas of head and chest. The rock-eye bomb is made to penetrate shelters before fragmenting. One of these pellet bombs has a casing designed to fragment into small pieces of shrapnel. The casing is made from a specifically constructed radio-transparent plastic, which cannot be detected by X-rays, thus making it impossible for surgeons to find and remove the fragments.